you know, and I know, and they know, cause we know, we go all in, you know, and I know, they know, cause we know, we go all in. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest edition of What You've Been Missing. It's your boy K Dizzle DC. Man, my guy on the other side. Tell him who you are, man.
Man, what's good, everybody? Man, it's your man, Have Streams. What it do, K Dizzle? How you been, bro?
I've been good, man. You know, life is good. Love is love, and we're still living and breathing. It has been a tumultuous 2 weeks. It's been a crazy 2 weeks, man. We're gonna dig right into this. But again, shout out to the underdogs. If you wherever you are, you watching this, you are now listening to the All Dressed Up Podcast, episode 109. Are y'all ready for this talk? And look, if you don't know, we do it pretty different than every other podcast that you have seen. We are live and direct. We are always available for you to come in and be a part of the show. Make sure you tune in. You can come on at 301-857-1757 to share your opinions with us, even bring you on live on video. So you ain't gonna get the can, you getting the action, the actual live situation. So when you're listening back, just remember we on every other Sunday and come see us. I just had to get that announcement because not only is this week has been crazy, but again, woo, where you want to start, man? Where you want to start, bro?
Well,
You know where to start.
as you can see, I'm still repping the home team, man. Still repping the home team. If enough says watching, it was a tough day for the Commanders, man. I had a feeling, K Dizzle, I told you off the air,
Mhm.
I think we got lucky a little bit throughout the season, man. I liked our record. I know 7-2 is impressive, no question. But I just had a feeling, man, we just couldn't, turn every game into that dub. And I think it caught up to him today. But good game to the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. But I'm a little salty. We took, L's to the Ravens this year and to the Steelers. So, we'll see how it goes.
Who are those three L's to? So it's to the Ravens, it's to the Steelers, and what was
And
the
to
third
the
one?
Buccaneers in week
The
one.
Buccaneers. To the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers got
So
some strong wins early on in the season. I will say that.
so for me to be a realist, I don't think the Commanders have beaten anybody too impressive, for them to really stamp
Mm,
for them to stamp any high expectations, I think, for them this year. But it's great to see them winning games, man, and being competitive, man. Like they were definitely in a position to win today.
yeah.
Even up close to that first down. That first down in Zach Ertz' old ass was very close, man. I like to see us get younger next year at that position. Zach Ertz is balling out, don't get me wrong, but if we can get somebody over there that can help him and McLaurin out, that's a little bit more sure-handed. And your boy's a kid, so whatever the guy we got from the Eagles, man, he
hmm
can't field a punt to save his life, man. They got to get him from back there. But that's enough of my Commanders, right?
Well, he didn't have those. He didn't have too many of those issues in Philly. I will say that it was just a wild and
So
weird.
why's he got him now, K Dizzle? What's up with that, man?
I don't know. We make roster moves for a reason. Are the Commanders for real? Are the Commanders for real? I think Thursday will solidify and see where they at. I mean, it's going to be for the NFC East, who's on top for the time being, and I think you guys got a really strong team. I will never discount that. I see that the Lions right now are currently looking a little sus against these Houston Texans. These Texans with these red lollipop helmets, but we're
Well,
going to last week. As I digress, we're going to talk about that later. But
Houston's finding a way to run the ball. They're starting to turn into a run first team.
well, everybody, the shift is on. I think the devaluing of running backs has shown itself to be the worst thing the NFL has done this season with the reemergence of Saquon Barkley, with Derrick Henry still doing his thing, with everybody who has a running game winning games.
Speaking of winning games, right? The Cowboys haven't won in a while, and they look like trash against the Eagles today. I want to ask anybody who's watching in the chat or who's listening, to go ahead and message us if you can. Were the Cowboys premature in paying Dak Prescott all that money? You know,
Wow.
were they premature? Were they premature in paying Dak Prescott all that money? Because I don't really think he's going to be the answer for what they paid for their future. I think they should have probably cut bait like the Commanders did with Kirk Cousins a few years ago, and just moved on, man. But they're locked in. He's going out for surgery on his hamstring, which is pretty serious.
Mhm.
So we'll see if he can come back next year, man. But it's been a pretty unfortunate season so far for the Cowboys.
But who do you pay? Who do you bring in? When you get rid of Dak, who do you bring in?
I think they're in a rebuild mode. I think them paying Dak Prescott was them almost basically saying they're Dak Prescott away from winning a Super Bowl. And they're not. That team has so many things that they're missing that they can't even really fill out their roster now because they're so committed to Dak Prescott for the future.
No, let me say this. I think they waited too long to pay Dak Prescott, and they had to pay him all the money. When Trevor Lawrence got his deal, it set again the market for subpar quarterbacks. And let me say this too. Dak Prescott is an above average quarterback. Okay, let's be honest. He's an above average quarterback that has taken this team to 12 wins for the past 2 or 3 seasons, right?
But their owner is a short sighted owner who
But
doesn't see the future because if you think about it, they could be in position the way that they're playing this year to be playing for Shador Sanders.
so blame it on poor management. I think who's playing for Shador Sanders? Actually,
Cowboys could have been.
the Giants are playing for Shador Sanders. I think they're playing for him. Or is the young Manning brother coming out this year?
Nah, not yet.
No. Okay, so Giants could be playing for the Sanders. They could be doing the Sanders Bowl, but you didn't have a choice.
They
One of
should
the
they should have
reasons,
told themselves the truth, K Dizzle.
huh?
They should have been honest with themselves, K Dizzle. I think Jerry Jones should have looked themselves in the mirror. If they were gonna pay Dak all the money, they should have went ahead and spent some money. Hey, Patricia Heffern, what's up, baby Nova? Sugar Bug's
Heifers in the
watching.
building.
But no, they should have went ahead and got Derrick Henry. You can't get the steak without the sauce, man. and why would you sit there and not pay Derrick Henry the amount of money that you could have easily paid? I think it was $8 million.
But again, we just talked about this.
All right.
We just talked about the devaluing of running backs in the game, and now we see the running game is everything to a team if you really want to win now and into the postseason. And so they didn't put a value on it, and they didn't sign their players until way too late, till the market was beyond set, and they couldn't, they had their hands tied. So you got Dak Prescott being the most expensive quarterback in the league that has played terrible through the 10 games that he played. Now he's out for the season. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's playing horrible now. You got Cooper Rush, who's Cooper Rush.
Dak,
You got
I mean,
Trey
I mean,
Lance.
Zeke Elliott fumbled today. Why is Zeke Elliott on a roster, let alone carrying the ball right now?
You gotta let it be what it is. They are terrible, bro. They are terrible, terrible, terrible. And they'll figure that. I think right now the best thing for them is to figure out what the depth on the roster looks like. Maybe think about, because they still got to pay Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons might be a free agent.
My man Michael Podcast Parsons, man. I ain't want to hate on anybody with the podcast. We do it every other Sunday.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be playing, linebacker, man. And that man be on the podcast too much. I really don't want to see him more than this week talking because they got some work to do, man.
No, I don't know. There's nothing else for them to do. There's
What do
nothing.
y'all think about these athletes having these podcasts during the season? Do y'all think that they got the right to have their own podcast even though they're in the middle of the season in the chat? Or do y'all think that they should be more professional and maybe stick to working on their game and staying out of that space, maybe just until the off season? What do you think, K Does?
Well, here's what you have. I don't know. It depends, right?
Okay.
If you're on your podcast and you're creating dissension within your own team, it's a problem. But then again, if you're creating your own podcast, you monetize and you're making money outside of football, that's your prerogative. However, the information that you provide, inside information, or you going in there talking about your teammates and everything else, Nobody's going to want you on your team. Nobody's going to want you to be a part of that organization if you're going outside of, like, literally right after the game and bad mouthing your teammates or playing down your performance. So, Micah is getting a lot of attention because he's on a losing team. When the Kelsey brothers were doing it, um, the Chiefs were winning and the Eagles were doing subpar, but what helped them.
But were they doing it during the regular? Were they
Yeah, they
doing
were
it during
doing
the
it during the
season?
regular season. They were doing it during the regular season, but the Eagles were
For some
doing
reason, I
good.
thought they did
They were
also.
10-0, and then they took their 11-6 slide, right? And so they were doing it during the season. But one of the things that they did do was they talk about their teams for a little bit, but then they talked about everything else. So Micah is in a tough situation because everybody's got all eyes on him, and it looks bad. It
Yeah.
looks bad. So I don't have a problem with them making money outside of work, but if you start talking about work outside of work and it affects your work, it's a problem. Huge problem. Huge problem. But yeah, that's one thing you're not gonna be able to stop. Sal's in the building. What up, Sal?
Here we go.
We had an easy game today. We got a tougher game on Thursday, so we'll see what that looks like.
All right, what's your prediction for Thursday, man? Before we get off the NFL,
The prediction for Thursday,
come
uh,
on, K Dizzle, man. I need Sal's prediction too. What up, Sal?
yeah.
Shout out to the Enough Said podcast, man. They
Shout out to the
live.
Enough Said podcast.
If you didn't know, they are live on Sunday mornings. They cover the NFL at 11 o'clock on YouTube, man. Enough Said podcast is a shit. It's the show, man. Check them out.
You ready for the prediction?
I want to hear it, man. I really want you to tell the people who's listening to us on Spotify because they don't have the opportunity to see your face. Say what you're about to say in this camera about what y'all, because I know you're feeling yourself. Y'all just smacked the Cowboys up. Jalen Hurts is playing some good football right now.
Yeah, playing
I
good
gotta
football.
say, I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead, do your thing.
No, it's gonna be 31-24 Eagles.
Okay, I'm not mad at that
31-24
prediction.
Huh?
I'm not mad at that prediction. So go ahead, break it down. What do you see? 31-24.
31-24 Eagles. The issue is, Nate, I appreciate you, my guy. The
Oh man,
problem with
love
it
you,
is
man. Appreciate you, man.
our defense is balling out. I don't see our defense is balling out way too good. Even if we don't get to the QB, we get a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. What does Wild Boar say? Says yes, they do. They have a lot of time to practice, which starts Wednesdays. What they do away from the practice is their business. I agree. Okay, this will keep it professional and it should be fine.
Appreciate that, wild boy. That's a good take, man.
Yeah, if you really out there, you gotta stay. You gotta keep your keep your team name out your mouth, 100%. And I think
But see, what I don't like about the Michael Parsons setup and Wild Boy, I don't know if you've seen this before or if you just disagree, which is fine. He talks about other teams' rosters. Like he had a whole segment where he was talking about the Jets, and he wasn't saying anything bad. He was just really kind of saying how they're really a good football team and
mhm.
yada yada yada. And I'm just like, it's cool, but during the season, I just want to see you more locked in. I don't know, just for me. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing the situation.
You
You
overanalyze the
know,
situation.
because they're 1-7 and
That's
three and
why.
three and
You're
10.
on a bad team. You overanalyze the situation because everybody talks about everybody's team and the depth and what they have good and what they're really good at and what they have looking forward. I think again, Michael Parsons, it's just him. He's on a team. He's on a mic in front of a camera, and it's his own opinion and views. But keep it 100 about your team, man. Half is Brian Robinson playing Thursday.
So let's talk about Brian Robinson, right? Brian Robinson is a guy who really sets up a safety cushion for Jaden Daniels. It's underrated for what his presence does. If you follow the Commanders, he leaves the Commanders in a lot of short third downs, a lot of short fourth downs. And you don't really have to see Jaden Daniels making those third and long type plays, type conversions. And
Mhm.
today, Eckler came out on fire. Don't get me wrong, he did a great job. But in a physical game, like in that one possession that the Commanders had when they got the ball off the fumble,
Mhm.
they actually had the 6 point lead. I was texting enough said about it earlier. They had the 6 point lead. They get the fumble against the Steelers on their goal line. So now they got the ball at the one. So
Right.
it's almost like it did more damage because now they can't run the ball off the one because they don't got a Brian Robinson. and Pittsburgh's a physical football team.
Correct.
And one thing I learned about, not learned, but one thing I always witness when I watch Pittsburgh play, they're gonna stick to their identity. They're gonna run the football. And they had a really good combination between Najee Harris and Warren, and they didn't, just leave it on one back. Both of their running backs pounded all game long. They didn't give up. And
Yep.
that's what the Commanders missed out on. So I agree with you, Sal. Definitely need Brian Robinson against the Eagles. I think if they don't have him, we're gonna have to convert some of these passing plays that Zach Ertz and McLaurin seem to just be coming up short with.
I'm glad you played a really physical football team. That means you're a little soft when you're coming down Thursday after that show.
That's what I was saying. So you predicted 31-24.
I predicted 31-24, and I think it's going to be with the late rally,
You get a,
by the
you get a
Commanders.
Commanders
Tough game
team.
to follow.
You get a Commanders team that's pretty beat down, man. It was a physical game. Hopefully Jaden Daniels isn't seeing ghosts out there because he got locked down. He definitely did not run
Yeah.
the ball today at all. I think he had about less than 10 rushing yards.
Yeah, he got hit pretty good.
So the Steelers are definitely a serious contender this year. I think, outside of the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Steelers, and maybe whoever comes out of the NFC, that's probably going to be who's going to be around at the end of the season.
I think the
Maybe,
Chiefs showed
maybe
that
Detroit or Philly.
your boy, the Chiefs showed that they're vulnerable, getting locked up by freaking Denver. Show that they're absolutely vulnerable. I think
But you can't go 16-0, can you? 17-0, can they?
no, I don't see it.
I'd rather see. I've been saying this the whole time. I'd rather see them lose to a team like the Denver Broncos because it really wouldn't hurt their. I don't think it would hurt their psyche going into the playoffs. Like, okay, we lost to a divisional team.
Mhm.
We can probably chalk it up to an off week, but they still came back and got the block field goal in the end because that's what the Chiefs do. They find ways to win football games.
They found ways on the last play to win football games. That's crazy. But they're still breathing. They have no problems. They have no quarrels. They know they got some stuff to clean up, but they're undefeated. So until they get beat, they're gonna be the team on top. So look, football is at an all-time high right now. It's been as freaking competitive as it has ever been this year. I think a lot of teams that started hot, we saw that them faded fast. And November is when you got to hit your stride, and we'll see the teams that hit the stride. Arizona's hitting their stride; they blew out the Jets, and we'll see how it shakes out. We'll see.
You know what I like about this year is that there aren't a lot of really bad football teams.
Correct.
I think there's probably less than 8 football teams that you could really say are bad.
Correct.
And that's a good thing. The NFL has a good product right now.
Mm-hmm.
Great for the NFL. The rich get richer.
Yeah.
The parity is back. There are gonna be some teams that are gonna be around at the end of this year that haven't been around at that time of the year for a long time. So should be a good finish, man. Shout out to Wild Boy in the chat, man, coming through with some comments. He said, well, you definitely don't want to give bulletin board material by saying something negative. Speaking of Michael Parsons' podcast, but roster talk is good.
But this one right here, the Commander should have gave Big Nichols more snaps. He is the
I
other
agree.
back besides Robinson.
I agree with you, boy. He got the touchdown, but he didn't get enough carries going down the field. And they also, made a lot of play calls to where they wanted to run side by side. I mean, side to side
Mhm.
instead of north and south. Like I like the Kingsbury offense. I really do. And they even converted the first down, but like they would run Eckler from the wide receiver slot position and bring him around for like a sweep instead of a regular straight up and down run. So it was a little interesting, but we'll see how they bounce back Thursday. I see it being a close game. We're playing in Philly, right?
Yes.
So we're traveling, short week after a loss. Jalen Hurts is hot. I think you guys beat us. I see us losing the first one.
Yeah.
Just because of the circumstances at hand. I can't even lie to you guys, man. I wish I could put up a fight, but we'll probably lose 28-17.
Yeah, we only played 2.5 quarters tonight. Everybody sat after that. So
Yeah.
we're going to be super fresh.
I think you guys are gonna get us this first one, man.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna split. Sal, I'm not gonna give up and say y'all are gonna, sweep us this year. But I see with the circumstances being what they are, us coming off of this short week with the tough physical game, you guys are gonna get us out of there this week.
Mhm. All right, so look, a lot of sports talk. A lot of sports talk. What's going on? Let's address the elephant in the room. And you pulled this up. I didn't even pull this up.
Yeah.
I didn't pull this up, but woo, what a week.
A lot to what's that saying? There's a lot to unpack.
What's a lot to unpack? I know Mama Heifer's in the build. I'm pretty sure she got a lot to say.
Yeah.
My group chats were on fire this week, man.
Yeah.
Stock up, buy black, all this other stuff. And, all right. So, the election is over. We see what America is and what it's always been. And I think we gave it too much credit, thinking that we were as progressive as we were. Um, and yeah, yeah. The biggest story of it was this: is that we had 10 million less votes in this election than 4 years ago. 10 million less votes in this election than what we had 4 years ago, which goes to show that we didn't come out and do what we were supposed to do. For one, uh, too many people sat on the sidelines, and it was just bad. It was just bad all around. So man, look, what do you? Let me let you air yourself out. Go ahead and talk about it, because
So for the first time, right, in a long time,
hmm
I heard some commentary from Stephen A. Smith of all people. Of all people, right? And I usually don't even agree with Stephen A. Smith on, most of his sports takes, but he's been in the political stratosphere and like all over entertainment lately. And he had basically went on the View and he was saying how he saw this coming, this Trump victory coming from a mile away. And he wasn't saying it like in a bragging way or like, in a celebratory way or in a disrespectful way. He was just basically saying that he saw the results coming to this point from a mile away. And then you wonder why, a person can say that. And he blamed it on the campaign. And he blamed it on the Democratic campaign and some of the direction and I guess tact that they took in the last, the last few weeks up and coming into the election. I can't necessarily say it was the Democratic campaign's fault or the way they ran their campaign. I just think that there's got to be something said for 10,000 votes to not be present this year. Like, what was the message behind?
10 million.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, 10 million. What was the message behind the amount of people that stayed home? And what are the narratives behind those results? Because are we basically saying that we gave up on this election? Are we saying that we didn't have a horse in the race? What do you think, Kate? Does that
Wild Boy
amount?
says
That amount?
some people probably didn't want to vote for either candidate because they didn't have a belief in either. That's very true. I think two things. Two things. One, I don't think this country is still not ready for a woman president.
Okay.
That's the gender thing. And two, this country is not ready for a woman black president. So there were two things. I think the Democratic Party made a decision early on not to do what they knew should have been the right thing, which was um, not run Joe Biden again.
Right.
And when they decided to say, all right, by the time they decided to have him run again, it was too late. There was no way she would build a case enough for it to make sense for them to believe in her. And not only that, um, we just not ready. It was huge. You could see it. A lot of men, regardless of their race, ethnic color, or preference, still have an issue with women in charge. And so it didn't matter how it was going to be spun. They just didn't feel like they wanted to vote fire the candidate, and it is bad.
Did you have an opportunity to see the breakdown of the 10 million?
The 10 million mostly was on the Democratic side. Now the crazy part was,
Was
uh,
it broken down by race or gender?
um, no, I didn't see the race and gender breakdown, but what I did see is that Donald Trump got almost the exact same amount of votes he did in 2020.
Interesting.
The Democratic Party got, the Democrat candidate got way less, 10 million less. So, and that's the popular vote, and that just goes to show you that they weren't excited about either. The only people that were excited were the people who were on the Trump team, and there are always going to be some conspiracy theories here, there, left, and right. More of the story is, you know, we live in a democratic society, and whether we agree with who wins, who doesn't win, we vote and we choose, and we have to deal with the consequences of our choices and who wins for the next 2 years or 4 years, or whatever the case would be for whatever position that they're in. And so, um, I can say I can say comfortably that no matter what happens, I think we'll figure out a way to survive. We'll figure out a way to move forward, even if we don't agree with the two. We didn't get to see a full Trump presidency in his first term because we had COVID 2 years in. Now we'll see what that really looks like, especially now they have the House and the Senate wrapped together. So,
Well, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be able to see. And there's also, just like when you have a player take some time off and come back, is there going to be any type of change in Donald Trump's presidency? Is he going to carry himself any differently? A lot of the behavior that he shows, if you like his policies or not, sometimes it's not presidential like, you know.
sometimes.
And that's the tough part. Like some of my friends and family were very fearful
Hmm.
fearful of what's to come based on what the president can display as far as their behavior. What's going to be tolerated in just the everyday society, just because it might look like it's okay to do certain things or say certain things, because now it's a different time, and Trump kind of carries it to where, again, if you voted for him or not, he's himself. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna carry it in his way, in his style, and a lot of people are fearful of that. And the narrative too that came from this, from what I saw as a smoke's clearing, is a lot of black women are looking at black men and saying, this was a chance for you to stand up and protect us. And it's almost like, they pointed the finger at a lot of black men by saying, y'all stayed home and didn't vote, and we didn't vote for, Kamala and give her the support to give her that extra push that she
Well,
needs.
well, I know, and some of that they try to use that, but a lot of when these stats came out, that didn't bear to be true. Black men
That's
still
right.
voted.
That's why I was asking you. Right.
Yeah, black men still voted. Voted Democratic and did vote for it. So the numbers didn't change. The numbers actually, got better than from the 4 years before. So all those things and ideals and arguments didn't bear any fruit when the numbers actually came out. I think again, what the shocking thing is that not enough people showed out. Not enough people showed out where it mattered. And he made a lot of gains in certain places that matter. And look, it's wild to think that we're in a position where we have someone that majority of the population. Let me not say that majority. Most of the people don't think he is qualified to do the job. I'm not concerned about him as the person. I am more concerned of the people that he will have around him now, and those people who are going to be helping develop policy. Erica is
What's
just
good with you, Erica McCoy?
ladies
Welcome
and
back.
gentlemen. We will be okay. Erica has entered the chat again. Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you on this, make sure you see us so we can shout you out in the next one too. But look, it's more concerned about the people that he has around him that will come in and try to push policy that is as dangerous as Project 2025 and those types of things that put a lot of people on edge. A lot of people are concerned, and the concern is genuine. More importantly, I think that we may have enough people with some kind of sense to be able to guardrail against, hopefully, as much as humanly possible, that it doesn't go too far sideways. And then the other thing is, those that once it does, those that it will affect the most are the ones that voted for him. And so when they start feeling the repercussions of their actions, what's going to be what's going to be the excuse then? What are they going to say then? So again, make sure that some way somehow that you get involved, or you have yourself in a situation where you're affecting change and helping people, making sure that they go out and vote and they go out and exercise their right. Because when you don't, you have things like this that happen, the people that don't necessarily represent you, that are in office. And a lot of people are on the rails right now, on the fences, like super concerned, and they have every right to be. We just got to get out there and figure out. We're gonna be all right regardless. Let me say this, okay? We have had plenty of bad presidents before. We had plenty of bad people in office before. We are going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. Okay. History has never been kind to those who do damaging things to the country and into livelihoods of regular people. So, all right.
So the dust settles. No, it's you have some really good points, K. Dizzle. Again, it's not an easy topic to really address, and I asked questions because there's some things that are going to be coming down the pike, economically and socially, that you're going to have to make decisions,
Hmm.
because these next 10 or 20 years are going to be pivotal, not just 4 years, but the next 10 or 20 years are going to be pivotal in all of our lives and all of our, next generations' lives, because a lot of things I think are going to be different than before. Not just the voting system in general or government, but I think now is more important than ever to be be conscious of what's going on, be conscious of the laws that are being put in front of Congress to be passed before they can even be affected by the president, before they can even get to become vetoed and be on that level in the branch of government. Like, we should be involved, like you said. I'm talking and I'm preaching myself because I could do better too at learning about what our community needs, doing things together to help ourselves, because we can't sit around and expect things to just change in our benefit. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And we're gonna have to put that extra work in to learn about, again, all these people that are supposed to be representing us that are also on the ballot. Like Mike, with enough said, I got to give him a shout out because he had made a comment to me. He was like, people are sitting home, but what about everything else on the ballot?
Yeah.
Like, not even just the president elect, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of other people that are representing different ideologies and different things that involve all of our futures.
Right.
And at a certain point, it's gonna come down to, like, what could we do to protect ourselves? And if we just let everything just go out of our control, we're not gonna have any say in the matter.
Right.
So I think, right now, like, to kind of switch gears a little bit, I sent you a topic, and every week in between podcast guys, me and Kermit K Dizzle, we get together and we talk about a showrunner, a list of topics, because yeah, we talk live, but we like to stay a little bit on track. And I was talking about crypto,
Hmm.
you know, and finances now. And I think Trump is a very I don't even see Trump as a politician, believe it or not. Like, I think he's just a shrewd businessman. I don't even think he's a real politician. But what do you think about the emergence of, again, like we talked about before, crypto? Because right now, all of a sudden, since the election has changed, it's looking like a bull rush. The market is up. There's the how the stock exchange marks will always show that green on the rise arrow. A lot of crypto right now is on the rise. Is this something that's going to be real? Is it something to invest in? Is anybody watching right now that knows about it more than I do? I know I got a couple of buddies that told me to buy in now,
Hmm.
put my money in there, stop messing with FanDuel, buy some Shiba Inu,
No.
and let that money shake. So
So
is it real? Is it a real bull rush? What do you say, K Dizzle?
All right. So first and foremost, right, 301-857-1757. If you just want to take, get this off your chest. I know you've probably been talking all week about this with your coworkers and your friends and your family and all that. Come on, share with everybody here. But more importantly, I think we get it confused. We get it confused every year, and even after every election, the stock market goes on a bull rush
Right.
because it has been decided and it knows what's what moving forward. It don't care about what their policies are. It don't care about who it is. They just want some finality of it, and all these things move. They always go on the up if you look at it. Because
Do the interest rates always go down too?
no, well, the interest rates are based on the Federal Reserve, and where they think the economy is. Now, look, the interest rates have always been on a path. If you've been following the Fed Reserve, to be lowered all the way down to 3.5% by 2026. Only reason I know all of this is because I watch it closely because I've been in the home purchasing market, so I'm paying attention to it like a hawk. And they always have plans ahead of all this stuff. And the stock market does the same thing. Crypto's been around forever. It's one of those things where it's almost just like forex. If you get in, you get in. Sometimes you get in when it's hot. Sometimes you get in after the fact. One of the things that you can always get into if you want to invest your money instead of FanDuel is stocks. Get into some strong yielding stocks. Do your research. Invest in it. You don't have to do anything crazy or put $1,000 up front. You can do $100 a month into a stock that's going to earn you 15% a year, which is way better than what any savings account is going to do. So don't take don't take the stock market, going up as a sign of choosing the victor or glad whoever the victor is. That's just how the market works.
So
And the
you're
market,
saying don't buy into the hype.
don't buy into the hype. Do not buy into the hype because that's all you're doing is just wasting your money. Because if you don't know what it is and you hear about the hype, it's too late.
So
It's
you're
way
pretty much saying that right now, even though that crypto market is looking hot, be wary, be aware.
Be wary, be very wary. Even though the stock market is looking hot, crypto's looking hot. Be very wary. I'll give you a plain example. Tesla. As soon as the election was over, Tesla shot up $50. Okay, shot up $50. It was like from 250 to 290. The entire stock market did a rally up high. If if you had gotten in and done any calls or puts 3 days prior to the election, you were smart enough to get in and make a crap ton of money because you understand how the system works. Whether won or lost, you would have made some money. When you get in at the point where it's 290, you're like, oh man, let me get in before I miss it. But you missed it. It's too late by then. Now it's gonna mellow out. So don't ever go in without a plan, and um, don't ever think that, just because everybody else sees an opportunity, by the time it reaches you, more than likely it's too late. That's like AMC and GameStop. You go and buy that stock when it's $12, and then it goes down to $4, and now you're looking stupid because you're $600 down to 200. So never invest without a plan. More importantly, and don't believe in the trends. They don't dictate anything. The market always does a rally at the end of the year, it gets hot, and then it evens out at the beginning.
So
Beginning of
then,
the year.
let's do this. Let's take a segue to the next level of the question. So I want to invest, right? We talk about being financial savvy often, and we're both in the financial background. So like I want to invest coming into 2025, and a lot of people were holding on to their money, which is true.
Mhm.
Heading up into an election, the old fashioned myth is hold on to your coin. So a lot of people are have held on to their cash flow. And going into this year, where should they put it? What are some things that K Dizzle thinks are good ideas on a low hanging fruit level to
Well,
like get started?
let's put a disclaimer out right now. Okay, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. Anything
But a
I
lot of us aren't. That's why it's a good question.
Yeah, anything that I say is just based off of my own experience. If you want to know where the best places to put your money is, seek a financial advisor or a financial planner that can look at your budget and see what makes sense for you and your household. Um, One of the things that I go against is leaving your money in the bank because a savings account, even if you got a great one at 4%, which is a really good savings, you know, held by a few banks, i.e., Capital One and Ally, um, that's a good place to start if you want to leave your money in the bank and just have it sit. But if your money is not working for you, it's not doing anything for you. Trust and know that if you got Navy Federal, you got Wells Fargo, Bank of America, the only reason they want your money in their bank is so that they can use it and borrow it and invest it and make more money for themselves.
Kiddos, a lot of people are afraid to jump into the stock market because they just have a lack of education of it. And I see a lot of people like on social media now that have a following, like on Instagram, that actually become pretty popular that know a lot about the stock market, and they talk about the everyday person who jump in and they share their gains and things of that nature. But it's like I think what the question, excuse me, that I always ask is like, at what point do I have the liquid to be able to invest in the stock market? Like, how much do I have to save to put X amount of dollars in the stock market responsibly to where it's not affecting my budget? I guess overall you have to sit down and look at your budget. But it's like if you've got your bills paid and a couple $1,000s saved up in the bank, how do you justify how much to put into the stock market?
All right,
That's
so
just, I guess, the
share with
average
you.
question that we always probably ask ourselves.
So let's share a common misconception. Let's break a common misconception. You think you need a lot of money to invest in the stock market. That's what
But you also
everybody
make
thinks.
a point too about, like, not leaving your money in the bank. So continue on elaborating, because you put it in the stock market is a lot better than the being in the bank, right?
That is 100% correct. So I'll give you an example again from my own experience. I'll take a specific stock that I've done a little research that, let's say again, pays me 12% annually based on a 5-year history. And that stock, let's call it ABC stock, I'm not going in and putting $10,000 in there because I don't have $10,000 to buy of that stock.
Okay.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do $50 every 2 weeks withdrawn out of my account to buy some of that stock. And what that's going to do over time is it's going to not only pay me dividends, but I'm going to be constantly investing in that stock, and that money is going to be constantly growing. The greatest law ever on the planet Earth is compound interest. If
Okay.
you understand how that works, then your money will always work for you even while you sleep. It does not cost you a lot of money to start investing. What it will require of you is some education and some knowledge, some information. You can
And I
go
like
pay,
to probably add some patience to that too.
you can go pay somebody to show you what to do, or you can go pay somebody to do it for
No,
you.
I said patience.
No, I know. And I said you got to pay somebody to do it for you. Or you can pay somebody to show you what to do. Either way, it's going to cost you just time. And if you got $2,000, it's fine to have an emergency fund, right? Keep that in the bank. Let that marinate just in case for emergencies. But any other savings, right? Invest it into the stock market where it's going to pay you dividends and give you a return on your money, because your money sitting in the bank is doing nothing but staying stagnant and waiting for you to spend it. Wild Boy comes in and says, first thing is invest in things you value and do your research or seek advice from someone more educated in investing if you are just starting.
Phenomenal advice, wild boy.
This is sound advice. Again, you can do $100 a month, okay, and you can do it $20 a week. You can do one less lunch because you go to McDonald's, you spend $20 on a 10-piece nugget meal. $20 a week and buy a stock, right? You do 52 weeks. How much is that? I don't know. Do the hard math, but
But then
that's
the other
more
thing,
than you probably ever would have did if you didn't take that small increment and put it into the stock market. And
and,
that money will actually keep making you more money over time. So
and setting it up to where you can also put enough money in to where you can leave it in. The whole objective is for you to invest so you can, like you said, compound, your savings.
mhm.
And a lot of people want that quick turn. That quick, I'm gonna put some money in and just, make a lot of money and pull out. Like, it's not that easy, right?
It's never going to be that easy. You can only play that quick return game if you got a lot of money. You got a lot of money you can put in
Day
real
trading
quick.
stats.
Yeah, you got a lot of money you can put into it. Then you can figure out ways to make a quick turn, but that's always a gamble too. We are in a position where if you're close to middle class or middle class, you need to put some small bits away or the manageable bits away so that it's always building for you in the background, so you don't even think about it anymore. Because it's just you can do it just like you subscribe to everything else that you pay for. You pay for Netflix, you don't think about it. You pay for whatever else it is, you don't think about it. $30 a month, $20 a month. Do that with a small stock. And that'll pay you a good percentage over the year, and also will pay you dividends that you can reinvest back into your stock. So it's all about gathering and finding that knowledge and information. And again, find a financial advisor that can give you the right information and give you the right knowledge, because
100%.
your 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 job isn't going to pay you a wealthy retirement. Okay, your 401k is only going to go but so far. Your Roth IRA is only going to go but so far. You're going to need to diversify your portfolio and make sure you got your money working everywhere that it can. So, 401ks with jobs are great because they match a certain amount depending on what you work for. But if you change jobs consistently, then it's a hassle of moving money here to money there, moving money here to money there, and then sometimes it can just sit until you remember to move it. So, again,
Get
seek
the education.
advice, seek education. Find somebody that knows money better than you. We all have a certain relationship with money, and we all think. A lot of people think that if I just make more money, then I can be better. I can be in a better position. No,
You just spend more.
you just find more ways to spend it, and that is the truth. Look at your money. Look at what you got going in, going out, and what you got coming in. You got to
But,
make
but,
some cuts. Make some
but
cuts.
that's exactly why K Dizzle, the middle class, you know, the whole idea of the middle class being a millionaire in the new economy is prevalent because all the middle class is doing essentially is just building a lifestyle that creates them to have to work harder and still spend more money. All the
So,
bills that we're creating, and I can include myself,
mhm.
all we're doing is widening that gap between being wealthy and still being in that middle class. So I just think that's something that as inflation continues, or if it doesn't, everything still costs more money than it used to.
Heck yeah.
And that 10 grand a month that we used to make, that we used to always boast about, or whatever that number is for that
Uh-huh.
paycheck, it's probably not doing the same thing it used to, is all I'm saying.
So,
Whatever that number is.
and you said this in the showrunner too, which is crazy because, and I'm gonna ask the chat too, since you guys here. What do you consider? What is considered middle class? Right? What is the
No question.
income number that you
Right now, in today's world,
into? Well, let's just say where we live, right? DMV. What is considered middle class? Where
so
would you put that number? Have
the first thing that you ask is what is considered middle class.
what is considered?
Are we talking about household income,
We talking
combined
about
household
household
income?
income. What's
I
considered
think I think right now a good middle class family is gonna make at least 150,000 out of the household.
150,000?
I think so. I think to sum up all of to scale all of the economy of the United States, because obviously that's not going to shake in a more expensive place like a Los Angeles or whatnot.
Okay.
But overall, I think 150,000 for a household will keep you right there before you can say you're not poor. You're not poor at 150K. You're still middle class. But I also think, you know, you making 600K might still leave you in the middle class. That's my point.
That's a big difference. That is a huge difference. You
I
said so.
think
You
the
said
gap is widened.
in the DMV, you're saying the middle class is 150,000.
Middle class. If
So
we think of middle class, that's the working population that pays the
okay,
bill, that foots the bill for most of the United States citizens because they're paying the most in taxes. I mean, it's just a fact. I'm not saying it's I'm feeling a pity party for the middle class, but that's usually who that person is. The person that's making, you know, the 40-hour a week paycheck, paying taxes, going to work every week, and being a consumer. putting their money back into circulation, paying for bills, buying food, of course, paying for entertainment, and that's kind of where it goes. And now, because we create these lifestyles, a lot of people aren't really investing, like we were just talking about earlier. They're just spending more money.
So let's say that's for a single household, right? So that's two people. They got to make at least 150,000 together to
So
be
I'm
in middle
saying you
class.
got 275,000 theirs.
Right. Well, yeah,
That puts you that
275,000.
puts you in the middle class in today's society.
Okay. So all right.
That's gonna allow you to pay the rent, pay the electric bill, pay the groceries, pay your car notes, your car insurance, and your health care.
All right. So all right. So how much house can you buy on $150,000, you think?
Man, in today's market, you're gonna be looking at an Airbnb.
That's
So
what I want
that's
that's
why
what I
it's
want to ask you.
that's why it's designed for the middle class to be, in my opinion, such a broadened gap.
That's what I want to ask you. How much you think at 150,000 in this area, how much house does that buy you? And that's two income earners. Depends on-
Realistically,
It depends on where you live
100%.
as well.
We
That's why
gotta
we
pay
was
the law
talking
of
DMV, right?
We got to pay the law of averages. I'm talking about a family right now in Prince George's County. Let's keep it real. You got two kids. Let's not be extreme here. You got two kids. You got a husband and a wife. You got a townhouse, and you're making 150 grand. We see it every day. These are our people that we saw. Let's say cars too. We fill out. We read credit applications often. And
Right.
of course, we have the buyers who make well over six figures. But
Mhm,
the average customer that I'm seeing is probably making about 150 grand between
mhm.
a couple. When I say household, I'm thinking a couple.
A couple, right? Two.
So if you're making less than that, you're poor.
Oof.
Absolutely much higher for sure in PG County, but wild boy, everybody's not making that money like that. So a lot of people are poor, is what I'm saying in PG County, because it's going to cost you a lot more than 150 grand to really live and thrive in PG County. Rent right now is 2,500 a month on average.
Mhm,
If you're not buying a house and getting some value and residual worth from your equity, you're
mhm.
burning money, and you're burning it at a high rate. If you're paying $2,500 a month in rent, like I'm doing,
So
there's no investment there. But you got to
so
do
I
that
wanna
so you can
say I
live.
wanna say, $150,000, would be considered middle class in, let's just say, lower areas of Virginia,
Right.
North Carolina, um, some areas in North Carolina. You may be a little, you right up, middle class in those areas. In some other places, for instance, PG County, DMV, Montgomery County,
So
Howard
we're marking
County.
those couples poor or
We're talking
lower middle class.
middle class is 250.
Okay.
250, maybe 250. I would go as low
So
as
you pretty much saying that I was on the right path, but I was even like,
you just a smidgen off, right? By about 100,000, just because of where we are,
so
right?
then what you're saying is the majority of people are poor.
What I'm saying is in this area for middle class, just because of again where we live in this small subsection, middle class in this area is like 225 um, to survive in the middle class area. That's just because of this subsection. Let's say nationwide, 150,000 will put you in middle class everywhere except for California.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, everywhere except for California, 150 grand will put you in middle class.
Right.
Definitely within that. But just think of that in the grand scheme of things, because in some areas, high income earners are on that 60, $70,000 mark, right? Or even $50,000 mark, which means let's say a couple together is at $100,000 and they're not hitting that like middle class mark. What does that say about the system? What does it say about the structure? And what does it say about prices? Because that $100,000 together is barely going to be able, depending on where they live, is barely going to be able to afford, let's say, a 450,000 home.
And that's why this is a great conversation. If you guys just came on to our podcast tonight, we talked about how a lot of things are changing with the political climate changing, and it goes hand in hand because if you're not making, we were talking about investing, and if you're not making that money, K, like you just told me, you're not even middle class if you're making 150 grand.
here.
How do you invest? So how do you invest? Like, at what point do you feel like, okay, I'm able to invest because I'm only making $150,000.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I'm only making $150,000 out of my household, so I don't have the money right now to put it in the stock.
No, if you keep your expenses low, 150 grand. Let me do the quick math. Okay. 150 grand will net you about, let's say, because 150 grand is about 12.5 a month, right?
You bring it home about 110.
No, you're bringing home about, are you bringing home about 110?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 108, right? If you bring it home about 108 net, let's just say 100 net, and you got a $2,500 rent, you don't own a home yet. Um, just depending on what your expenses are, you should be able to save quite a bit of money. Now, you're 150 grand and you got a $600,000 house. At today's current rates, and you got two cars, let's say that's $1,000. Um, Based on today's mortgage, you got a $5,000 mortgage. So, so it's just that's half of your money right there. So, and don't have kids or anything else like that.
Saying.
That you just gotta find a way to um, cap your money down, cap your expenses, and save. RF says the only way to beat inflation is to invest in assets that rise in value as a result of inflation. And the only things that rise in value as a result of inflation are homes, stocks, homes, stocks, and there's not much else in between stocks, bonds. That's it. Your vehicle is always depreciating asset. You're not going to be putting it in art because I mean that's just what it is. So it is stocks and it is home ownership or it's rental properties or things like that. That's the only when you move that. You have to budget investing in and make sacrifice of Starbucks or whatever you're spending on that you can cut as an expense. Because again, investing is a long-term game. It's for the future security of your retirement. If you are thinking that you are going to be able to live off Social Security when you get to the retirement age, you are living a false hope, a false dream, because the baby boomer generation has exhausted that. They've made it for themselves, and it will no longer be around there for us. That money will barely pay probably by the time you're ready your light bill.
It's almost like a form of exercise, K Dizzle. When you have that patience to put in that work and work out every day, and you're not gonna get that weight loss that you want in a week. You got to put in that same effort over time to get that compound effect that you were describing, to see that loss, to see those gains. And it comes down the same way when you think about investing. Like, you can still see those gains to get that confidence to invest more.
Mhm.
Like RF in the chat, he texted me and he told me, he was like, the time is now.
Yeah,
Like, the time is now. Put your money in some places like here. Sitting in a group chat, and you just can't have that fear. You gotta put your money in there.
100%,
What your vices are, like Wild Boy says.
100%.
Spending money every day on Starbucks, right? You're going to the dispensary, getting that grass every day. You're buying that cheeseburger. You can find a way, including myself, man, to put that $25 out of a week into into a stock that you like. And Wild Boar had another great point. He was like, invest in what you like.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be something foreign. It doesn't have to be something you don't understand. So
Yeah. So look, I'm gonna give you some guy told me a long time ago that sits with me, and I think about it every decision I make. Say, all the money decisions you make, um, all the money decisions you make today are deciding factors of whether you'll be taking care of your kids when you're older or they'll be taking care of you, right? And I don't ever want to be a burden to my children when I get older. I want them to be able to live their lives. And if I leave this earth, you leave this earth with something, it'll be for them. I don't want to be having to, having them to make adjustments just to take care of me when I'm getting older.
The
Right.
losses don't feel the same, man. Those losses that you took before you had your kids, you felt like, all right, it's just me. You take those losses when you got your babies, they hurt. They're gonna,
100%.
they're gonna cut a little deeper, man. And I felt that big difference, K Dizzle, since I've had my two girls. Like every dollar that I see wasted, I'm just like, man, I wish I could have put it here or done this with it. And
That's it. I do two different stocks. It's $50 every 2 weeks, and I make that sacrifice. I don't even think about it anymore, and I just watch it grow. I just let that thing ride, and I know sooner or later, it'll be there. It'll be there. It's making money for me. It's making money for me in my sleep. I ain't thinking about it. It'll always have a return on investment, and so that's where you want to get to. Anybody with money and understands money will tell you put it somewhere where it works for you, and that's what the smart people do. And if you don't get anything out of this conversation that we had tonight, is one, elections do matter, but they don't matter when it comes to your money, your investment, and you planning for your future properly. Two, you will live through whatever bad decisions that they make in office as long as you know what you're doing with your money.
100%.
And three, the middle class is what the middle class is, no matter where you are. You want to make a decision for yourself to live the life that you want now and in the future, regardless of whatever class they put you in. Just make sure that you're investing, make sure that you are being smart with your money, but more importantly, make sure that you're setting a precedent for something, not only for you, but good principles and good ideas for the people that are coming behind you to follow, and you setting good examples with it. So look,
It's 100%.
yo, I didn't even know where we was gonna go with this, but look,
It's a good conversation, man.
hella conversation.
Appreciate everybody who checked us out tonight live. For those who saw us or who listened to us on Spotify and iTunes, we appreciate you as well. But yeah, if you were in the chat tonight, one of those conversations, man, that we can all relate to. Everybody wants to know the answer, but one thing I'm gonna tell you before we sign off, man, and before you finish closing, Kate Dizzle, is smart people like stupid people, and there's a reason why, and you can't be mad at the fact that if you're not educated, you will be preyed upon.
hmm
So definitely do your research, man. Take that, take that, clip it, do your research because they will take advantage of you, man. So
Hey, look, Trump was a prime example of that. If you are
100%.
uneducated, you will be preyed upon. Lord have mercy. Look, if you want to come on stage, you want to come on the show, talk your stuff, submit your info to alldressedupodcast@gmail.com, or even got any show ideas that you want us to push forward. You can find us. Tiffaraga's in the building. Hey, sis.
Oh, thank you very much.
Facebook.com, YouTube. Go to our YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Find Hef Streams Media on his YouTube channel with the Climax series.
I'm back series.
Crazy. K Dizzle DC, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. You're never there, but come on in. I really enjoy you being here. Tifaraga, shout out to the homie. But look,
tell your friends and family we are on live the first and third every Sunday night, man. We've been what I say?
Every first and third Sunday night.
Yeah, damn right. And we've been rocking for a minute, man. We ain't going nowhere.
Shout out to y'all, man. We appreciate you. We love y'all. See y'all in 2 weeks.
You know, and I know, and they know, and we know, we go all in, you know, and I know, and they know, 'cause we know.